Hello and welcome back to Toy Thursday with Johnny Tiger. The date is October 29, 2020. Since it is 2 days before Halloween, we're going to do a retro toy review to show you some action figures that are very fitting to the whole Halloween theme. When I was little, growing up with two brothers, I played a lot of video games. Now, if you're wondering how can a totally blind person play video games, then please do a quick YouTube search on blind video game uh, display or exhibition. You'll find that there's actually a lot of totally blind gamers out there that are really good at what they do. Some of them can play Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or Tekken. Are really, really amazing. I never got to be that good, but I was pretty good. I was pretty decent. I could hold my own against my sighted brothers and friends. One of those video games that we played and very nostalgic about is called Darkstalkers. Darkstalkers is a series of video games that best be described as Street Fighter in Halloween costume. Rather than martial artists, this game had uh, monsters, vampires, and werewolves, and demon slayers duking it out in a dark, demonic tournament. There has been several Darkstalker games, but unfortunately, there has not been a lot of options for Darkstalker related action figures. In the mid 90s, around 1997, Toybiz produced a small series of Darkstalker action figures. And the funny thing is, they totally flew beneath my radar. Not many action figures escaped my notice, but these totally did. I didn't know they existed until 2010. You can get these guys relatively cheap, sometimes if you're lucky on eBay for 10, 20 bucks for the entire set. And comparing to most action figures today, honestly, they kind of suck because they were made 23 years ago. Um, but they have very high nostalgic value and they are pretty retro. And for gamers like me who grew up in 90s, Darkstalkers hold a warm, fuzzy place in my heart. So I'm glad to add them to my collection, and I'm going to give you guys a run through today, so you guys can see who's who and what's good and what's not so good. It is one of my biggest wish that one of the modern companies will take a crack at this license and make some new versions of these characters. Hopefully, someone like McFarlane or NECA, some of these really, really good action figure toy makers, if they can take a crack at these characters, it would be totally awesome. Yesterday during Wisdom Wednesday, we talked about John Quay, a guy who looked so ugly that he was basically made the king of ghosts, the lord of demons, because of his ferocious, fierce, ugly appearance. But inside, he was a good guy. In front of the camera, you're seeing the polar opposite of John Quay. Just look at this little girl. Isn't she cute? Big eyes, small tiny nose, and she's dressed up like Little Red Riding Hood, complete with a basket she can carry on her arm. I'm turning her around so you guys get a back view. She keeps dropping her basket. I'm not supposed to do that, but anyway, look at that. Such a cute little thing. She's smaller than my hand. Now these action figures of the Darkstalkers were made to in a 5-inch scale. That's another reason why they don't fit in with anything today because they were really too small. But that was the standard at the time. Such an adorable little girl. But she is anything but adorable on the inside. Her real name is baby Bonnie Hood. She is 12 years old, approximately, and one of the most psychotic and deadly demon hunters in the Darkstalker universe. She doesn't hunt demons because she needs the money. She doesn't hunt demons because she wants to do good for the world. Little baby Bonnie Hood hunts demons because she loves the act of killing. She does it for the thrill of the hunt. She often uses her little innocent appearance to lure demons to come close to her, and then she would stab them with her many knives, or shoot them with her many guns, or blow them up with her explosives, and there were even times when she would bash their head in with a rock to kill them. She enjoys putting herself in danger, she enjoys killing. This is a little serial killer in the making, but she just looks so adorable. She comes with her little basket. Oops, that just fell on the floor. Uh, This is not one of my better days making this video. I've had to restart this video uh, twice already uh, because things keep going wrong. So I don't know. Hold on, give me a second. If anyone knows how to pause and resume videos while you're making these YouTube videos on your iPhone, please let me know because it's kind of aggravating to having to restart from the very beginning every single time something goes wrong. Let's try this again. Here is her little basket. And hold it up. Hopefully you can see on the camera. This is actually quite uh, intricate little item. Probably one of the best looking wicker baskets made for action figures ever. Look almost like real wicker basket, just in miniature. Inside this basket, rather than food or cake, she carries her submachine gun, one of the tools she uses to kill demons with. Little girl with a gun. Scary. In addition to her gun and her basket, try to get this back in there. Um, Baby Bonnie Hood also have a removable hood, a red hood. You can take that off her hair. Give you guys a look of her without the hood in the way. Turning her around. And her cape also comes off. This feels so weird. I feel like I'm stripping this little girl. But don't worry, that's all. That's the only. Those are the only items that's going to come off. Without her hood and her cape, she looks even smaller than usual. Kind of hard to believe that such a tiny little girl, innocent-looking little thing, can be so deadly and twisted inside. Not a very good character, or not a very nice character, but she is quite interesting. We don't see little girls in action figure form that often, and on top of that, a little girl who is totally deadly, a pretty rare character. Next up, we have the succubus Lilith. Lilith is probably the worst figure in this series. She is too small, too scrawny, and just kind of goofy the way they made her. Her arms kind of move a little bit, but because of the way she's posed, if you move her out of her default pose, her arms just look weird. Okay? Her hip, legs move a little bit, but there again, they They don't add anything to her posture. She does have these interesting looking bat wings or fairy wings. I don't know what they're supposed to be. Uh, and if someone can tell me what are those things on her head, are those her hair sticking out the side, or are those antlers, or horns, or ears? I don't know. They, I don't know what those things on her head are supposed to be. Now, just in case there's any children watching this, I'm not going to explain to you what's a succubus. Uh, Kids, if you want to know what a succubus is, go home and ask mommy and daddy. Hopefully, they'll tell you the truth. But anyway, I'll leave it at that. Now, Lilith has an interesting backstory despite the toy not being very good. You see, the story goes that the demon world was facing extinction. Demons were dying out. So some of the demon lords pooled their power and created one of the most powerful life forms in the demon world, hoping that she would grow up and lead demon world back to its glory days. This new life form was the succubus called Morrigan. But because Morrigan was so powerful, she was unable to contain her own power. She was unable to control her own power. So the demon lord Belial split her soul into three pieces. One piece of her soul stayed in the original Morrigan body. One piece was kept by the demon lord Belial, and the third piece was banished into a different world. Eventually, that third piece grew so powerful that it got itself a new body, a new consciousness, and turned into the succubus Lilith. So you can say Lilith is not really her own person. Lilith is like a fragment of Morrigan's soul that gained her own life form. Again, she's very small. Look at her. She's like smaller than my hand, and very skinny looking. As far as action figure goes, she's the most disappointing of the lot. So we're going to move on. Give Lily a break here. Next up, as a good contrast to Lily, we have the Vampire Lord Dimitri. Immediately, you can see how muscular this guy is. This is like a really buff vampire. I mean, most of the time when we see vampires, they're either really skinny or they are like skeletal. We don't see this is like a vampire on steroids. Just look at that, big, huge bicep, arm, chest, huge shoulder, thick neck. Funny, and that tiny pinhead. So what's up with that hair, right? His head just looks so weird. It's like smaller than his fist. He has a rubber cape, and this is a very articulated vampire. His shoulders move out, in, up and down. His elbows move. His wrist move. His waist move. His neck moves a little bit, but not much. His hips, his legs can kick forward and back. His knees can move. So for something that was created in 1997, this was really articulated. Dimitri is the second most powerful vampire in the world, second only to Dracula. For the most part, Dimitri hides in his castle in the mountain in Romania, waiting for treasure hunters and thrill seekers and vampire slayers to come to him. They come with crosses and holy waters and garlic, but because Dimitri is one of the most powerful ancient vampire lords, he's not afraid of any of those things. At the peak of his power, Dimitri is not even afraid of sunlight. That is how powerful this guy is. So as far as Darkstalkers go, I wouldn't say he's one of the best, but he's uh, not bad. He's a muscular, impressive-looking vampire lord. He has a weird-looking proportion with a tiny pinhead, but hey, you know, it's 1997. We can't ask for everything. So it's not bad. As far as Darkstalkers go, not bad. Next up, we have John Telbane, the werewolf. Can't do a monster toy review without the werewolf. John Telbane was born to a human mother and a werewolf father. For the most part, he lived his life as a peace-loving man. But one day, his inner beast came out, and he transformed into a werewolf and was shunned by society. Despite that, he is one of the good guys. He spent his life trying to turn back into a human being, trying to keep his inner beast under control, and he spent a lot of his time looking after orphan children. So John Talbot, despite his ferocious appearance as a werewolf, is one of the good guys. He is also one of the few Darkstalkers. He's the only Darkstalker that comes with a weapon. He has a nunchuck in his hand. Uh, so that's kind of weird. A kung fu nunchuck wielding werewolf. He is quite large actually, comparing to the rest of the figure. He is almost, I would say, 6 inches tall if you stand him up straight. He is articulated as a jaw. You can open and close his jaw. His head moves. His shoulders move in and out, up and down. Elbows move side to side, side to side. Wrist, is his wrist move? Actually, no, no wrist. Okay. His tail, big bushy tail. Look at that. That's like some humongous tail on this guy. His tail move. His waist, yep, move at the waist. Hip, his leg can kick forward and back. His knees also move forward and back. Again, very articulated considering his time, and with his tail using as a third point of contact, he can stand very securely. Not a bad werewolf action figure at all, actually, considering. Not bad, and he's very unique. I mean, again, this is a kung fu fighting werewolf holding a pair of nunchucks in his hand. That's just wacky and cool at the same time. Next up, we have probably the best of the Darkstalker figures. His name is Victor, and he is huge. This big guy, this big fellow, is Darkstalker's version of Frankenstein's monster. Victor was created in the lab by Professor Jurgenheim. He spent his life trying to please his creator, whom he thought was his father. But because Professor Jurgenheim went mad and died, and Victor, being a creation, a monstrous creation, he couldn't understand life or death. So he didn't realize that the professor was dead. He just thought that the professor kept ignoring him, and if he tried hard enough, he could gain the professor's love and affection. Despite of his hulking appearance, Victor, the monster, is a fun-loving, very jovial character in the Darkstalker demonic world. When he fights, he uses a lot of his super strength and his wrestling moves like a WWF wrestler. And comparing to the rest of the guy, he is really big. Like in the unfortunately, he's still not big enough because in the game he's 8 feet tall. So He should be a little bit taller, but let me bring Dimitri back into the frame. Then, even against a bulky guy like Dimitri, Victor just dwarfs him. Look at that. Like Victor's fist next to Dimitri's, Dimitri's head. It's just funny. So Victor is a very big action figure. Uh, Even standing next to action figures of today, he's not that small. Giving you guys a back view. You can see there's a lever on his back, and what this does is when I push this up, his brain pops out. You can see his brain. Up, down, brain out, brain in. Brain out, brain in. That's just wacky. um, he is articulated at shoulder, in, out, forward, back. His bicep, move, elbow. I thought his wrist moved too, but maybe not. His waist rotate, hip, leg can kick forward and back, and knee move as well. Look at those gigantic boots on his feet. Big and kind of fun. I have an interesting gimmick with the brain thing. This is the best Darkstalker. He also comes with the ghost of his creator, Dr. Professor Jurgentine himself. Look at this. This little ghost is supposed to glow in the dark. I'm not sure if he does or not. I can't see it, but it's a nice little add-on with Victor. Victor can hold onto the professor like that. Victor's hand is so huge, he can grip the whole ghost like this. Why don't you love me? Why don't you love me? Why don't you love me? So in the end, Darkstalkers definitely are showing their age as retro action figures, but some of them are quite fun and they bring back a fun part of my childhood, reminding me of those hours and hours of devoting my time to video games rather than homework, doing something that I could do and, and take part in with my sighted siblings and peers. I hope you guys have fun today and have a safe and fun Halloween. We'll be back again tomorrow for Fitness Friday. This is Toy Thursday with Johnny Tiger. Have a good night.